Imagine entering your own company without anyone knowing who you really are. Imagine listening to conversations without filters, observing the behavior of the employees, and discovering the true culture of your business. Now, think about the impact of a simple act of kindness and how it can change not only a workplace, but the lives of many people. This is the story of Daniel Carter, an entrepreneur who decided to infiltrate his own network of stores to understand what was really happening day to day. What he found was something that would change his perspective forever. Daniel Carter was the founder and CEO of Carter Express, a network of neighborhood markets that had grown rapidly in recent years. At 47 years old, he had already gone through every phase of entrepreneurship, from opening his first small store to managing a chain of more than 50 units spread throughout the country. His success stemmed from a clear vision: to provide a welcoming environment for both customers and employees. But as his company grew, he began to notice that something was missing. The numbers in the reports were positive, sales were high, but was the experience he had envisioned for his customers really taking place? Were his employees happy? He needed to find out. That's when Daniel made a bold decision. Instead of relying solely on reports and meetings with managers, he decided to disguise himself as a temporary worker and visit one of his stores without any prior notice. He chose a unit in a busy neighborhood, one of the most profitable locations in the network. He dressed simply, put on a fake beard, wore a cap, and adopted a discreet demeanor. He wanted to see reality with his own eyes, without filters or interference. Upon entering the store, he was greeted by the local manager, Roberto, an experienced and dedicated man who quickly put him to work. Daniel introduced himself as Miguel, a temporary employee sent by the head office to help organize the stock. And so, he began stacking shelves, organizing products, and observing everything around him. His objective was clear: to understand the store's operations and, above all, how his employees dealt with the customers. It was there that he met Lucas, a 22-year-old working at the cash register. Lucas had contagious energy. He greeted each customer by name, asked about their families, and made everyone feel welcome. But what truly caught Daniel's attention was something that happened that very afternoon. An elderly gentleman dressed in simple clothes and carrying a tired expression approached the cash register with just a few items: a package of bread and a liter of milk. Upon seeing the final bill, he hesitated for a moment, counting the coins in his wallet. Before he could decide what to do, Lucas discreetly typed something into the system and said, "Today it's on me, Mr. Antonio. You may take it." The gentleman was surprised, his eyes filling with gratitude. "Lucas, I can't accept this. You've already helped me before." "Don't worry," replied the young man, smiling. "I'm just returning all the kindness you have always shown me." The man thanked him and left with the few items he had, while Daniel observed everything, unable to believe what he was seeing. He realized that this was not an isolated act. During the rest of the shift, he noticed Lucas helping other people, rounding small amounts down, discreetly giving little gifts to children who passed by the cash register with their parents, and offering comforting words to customers who were clearly facing difficulties. Daniel knew he needed to understand this better. Later in the break room, he approached Lucas. "Hey, man, I noticed that you always find a way to help people, but aren't you afraid that this might cause you problems?" Lucas smiled, looking a little embarrassed. "Miguel, right? Well, I just do what I think is right. Some people who come here are really going through tough times, and I have been in their shoes before. When I was younger, my mother and I had hard days, and sometimes people helped us. I just try to give back in some way." Daniel fell silent for a moment, feeling a lump in his throat. He hadn't expected to find such a touching story behind a simple cashier. The next day he continued his observation, now with a new perspective. He talked to other employees and discovered that Lucas was known for his generosity. Besides helping the customers, he often covered extra shifts for colleagues who needed family time, and even helped with the stock when necessary. But what really surprised Daniel was when he spoke with manager Roberto. "You know, Lucas is one of the most dedicated employees I have ever had, but what few people know is that his life isn't easy. He lost his parents very early and was raised by his grandmother. Now, he takes care of his younger sister and does everything he can to ensure she has a better future. I've never seen someone so young and so committed to others. Daniel felt a profound impact from those words. At the end of his undercover experience, he knew he had to act. That night, Daniel reflected on everything he had witnessed. He went home but couldn't get Lucas's actions out of his head. How could an employee with a modest salary be so generous? How could someone who already faced so many difficulties still care for others? It moved him in a way that no corporate meeting or financial report ever had. On the third day, he arrived at the store earlier than usual. This time, his gaze was different. He was no longer there just as a disguised CEO. He was there as someone who wanted to better understand the people who made his company work. He walked through the aisles, watched the customers coming and going, and realized how that market was more than just a place to shop. It was a meeting point, a refuge for those seeking not only products but a bit of humanity. During the workday, Daniel saw Lucas helping a mother who was carrying a child in her arms. She looked exhausted, trying to balance the bags while holding the little one. Without hesitating, Lucas left behind the counter and helped her, carrying the groceries to the door and making sure she could leave without any difficulties. Shortly after, a visibly worried man hurried into the store. He went to the cash register and explained that he had forgotten his wallet at home, but needed to take some basic items for his children. Once again, without a second thought, Lucas processed the purchase and said, "You may take it, Mr. Ricardo. Just remember to help someone whenever you can." The man was visibly moved, thanked him several times, and left the store. Daniel felt a weight in his chest. He finally understood what was happening. His market wasn't just a business. It was a piece of the lives of the people who lived there. It was where they found support in difficult times, where they were treated with respect and dignity. That night, after the store closed, Daniel knew it was time to reveal his identity. He gathered all the employees in the cafeteria and, with a deep sigh, took off his cap and fake beard. "Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Carter, and I am the founder of Carter Express." Silence filled the room. Some employees looked at him in disbelief. Lucas was completely surprised, his expression mixing shock and curiosity. "I have been working here these past few days as a temporary employee because I wanted to understand better how things really work in my stores. And I must say, this experience opened my eyes in a way I never imagined." He paused, looking directly at Lucas. "Lucas, you don't just do your job. You transform lives. I saw how you help the customers without expecting anything in return, how you treat each person with respect, and how you care about others even when no one is watching. That deeply touched me." Lucas lowered his head, embarrassed. "I just do what I think is right, sir." "No, you do so much more than that, and I want to make sure you are recognized for it." Daniel then announced that Lucas would be promoted to a management position with a significant salary increase. But he didn't stop there. He also revealed that he would create an assistance fund for Carter Express employees, ensuring that no one would go through extreme hardships. "I want every employee to know that your dedication matters. I want you to know that just as you take care of the customers, I will take care of you." The announcement generated applause, and some employees even became emotional. Lucas, still speechless, shook Daniel's hand with his eyes shining. The following week, Daniel returned to the store, now as CEO, but with a much keener eye on his employees. He saw the difference his decision had made. The environment was more positive, the employees felt more valued, and the customers began to frequent the store even more, knowing that this was a place where they were treated with respect and care. The impact was so great that in a short time, other Carter Express units began to adopt the same approach. Small gestures of kindness started to spread. Employees began to support each other more, and customers felt this change. And all of this began with a simple act of kindness. This is the story, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. And if this story moved you, leave a comment down below and tell me where you are watching from. I love seeing how far these stories reach. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one. See you in the next video. Goodbye.